Welcome back. 6 months into a rocky tenure, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth is reportedly thinking about a career change. According to two people who have spoken directly with him, Hegseth has privately discussed the idea of running for political office next year in Tennessee. The discussion centered on what it would take for Hegseth to run, with one person saying they discussed the eligibility requirements for a run, while the others said they talked about the realities of a campaign. Now, in a statement, the Pentagon's chief spokesman pushed back, calling the story fake and saying Hegseth's focus remains solely on serving under President Trump. Joining us now, former Democratic congressman and senior advisor with Vote Vets, Max Rose, and former Republican Congressman Charlie Dent of Pennsylvania. Congressman Dent, given all the drama of Hegseth's first 6 months in the current job, what do you make of this new reporting that he's thought about jumping out of the Pentagon into the political realm?
Well, first, he's denied this, that he's running, but he is in a job that is expressly nonpartisan, and the fact that there's discussion about him running for office really suggests that he's behaving in a partisan manner. So this is not a story he wants out there, and frankly, I would have to think that the White House can't be too thrilled about this either, given all the drama, from Signalgate to his challenge with some of the promotions at the Pentagon, to losing a lot of his key staff. He's got all sorts of problems over there. And now that this story's out, I'm wondering if the White House was blindsided by this, just as they were blindsided by his decision to withhold funding to Ukraine, only to be overruled by the White House. So,
or Congressman Dent, is this their off-ramp? Their way to get Hegseth out of the Pentagon?
Absolutely. This is an exit ramp. This is a way for him to get out, too, if that's what, in fact, they want. But, of course, Pete Hegseth is out there denying that he's running. So it's pretty clear to me that there's some pressure on him to get out of that job.
Congressman Rose, there's also this new reporting just this week in the New York Times on Hegseth about some recent clashes between him and his top generals, reportedly over internal promotions following suspicious leaks. As a veteran yourself, what is the danger if the defense secretary doesn't trust his generals?
So the danger here is that the defense secretary is a massive distraction to the normal business of the Pentagon, which is to conduct war and keep America safe and support our allies overseas. Instead, though, this is turning it into a reality TV show with random leaks, turmoil, and infighting. And that is not positive to our national security. With respect to my friend Charlie, I disagree with virtually every single thing he just said, although I respect his wisdom. They need an off-ramp for the Secretary of Defense. Secretaries of Defense don't normally want to be senators. Senators want to be secretaries of defense. So they're going to him and they're saying, listen, you're going to run for office because this is not working out for you. You can't provide consistency, stability, or the leadership that the office requires.
Well, stay tuned for Hegseth. I want to turn to some new upheaval in the Democratic Party. Take a look at this striking moment with New Jersey Senator Cory Booker. He was objecting to a passing of a bipartisan package of police funding bills when it turned into a big debate of his party's handling of Trump world.
When the President of the United States of America violates the Constitution, trashes our norms and traditions, and what does the Democratic Party do? Comply? It's time for Democrats to have a backbone. It's time for us to fight. It's time for us to draw lines. And when it comes to the safety of my state being denied these grants, that's why I'm standing here. Don't question my integrity. Don't question my motives. I'm standing for Jersey. I am standing for my police officers. I'm standing for the Constitution, and I'm standing for what's right.
He said, what does the Democratic Party do? Comply. He was angry at his own party. Congressman Rose, your reaction?
So this is the emerging issue in the party right now, is to what degree do you actually resist the Trump administration every single step of the way? And to what degree do you show that you can be a governing body? What's fascinating about this is that normally that fight unfolds in the House. Here it's now on fighting in the Senate amongst a rising new generation of Democratic leaders. Now, I don't know if the best place to have that fight is in and around law enforcement funding, where traditionally Democrats have been, especially over the last decade, struggling to prove that we are on the side of law and order and public safety. But the overall point is absolutely correct. The American people and the Democratic primary voters will no longer reward just going along to get along with the Trump administration, because Trump is an existential threat to everything we hold dear, most especially the Constitution.
Congressman Dent, what did you make of that moment?
Well, this kind of reminds me, like Max said, a little bit of what would happen in the House in reverse. Let me explain. First, look what happens here. It's clear Cory Booker might have national ambitions, and he's basically telling Senators Cortez Masto and Klobuchar that they're not fighting hard enough by governing, by making accommodations, by making a deal on a police bill. He's basically saying they're not fighting hard enough. And this is what happened in the House for years. The Freedom Caucus would take on a very hard-line position. And then those Republicans who are actually working to govern, well, those guys would then throw them under the bus as being insufficiently committed to the cause, not fighting hard enough. And what's happening here is, Cory Booker is red hot. He's, what's the temperature of the flame? I used to get this all the time. If I were pushing back against the Democrats on something, and the hard right would say, you're not fighting hard enough, I would say to them, well, if I set myself on fire for them, they complain that the temperature of the flame is not hot enough. And that's kind of where they are right now in the Democratic Party with respect to Senator Booker.